Okay, so we're going to do the quick start for getting Paging Poly set up for your own code base on your own machine. So as part of the files that you're going to get, so you are going to be getting an electron/app.zip. And this is going to be the case whether you're getting the Paging Poly suite or Paging Poly on its own, as you're going to receive a zip folder that'll say Electron app. You'll also be getting this file, which is Paging Poly Getting Started and Developer Setup Guide. And then you will also inside, well, actually this one doesn't have it. And you will also be getting this agents folder, which has skills. And there are 4 different skills that will be packaged alongside your app just to make things really easy, just to kind of avoid that extra tension when you're working on a code base for the first time. So these are preset up for you and you'll be getting those as well. So when you open up, so you're going to get the PDF. So we have the PDF here. There's also an HTML inside of the folder. So I'm going to be just going over the HTML, which you can do too. You can just open that in your browser, which is workable because there are links in here. It's whichever you feel most comfortable with. Because again, if you open this up, getting started HTML. So that's this right here. And then we are going to be installing Git. We're going to be installing node.js, and potentially on Windows, you may need the build tools for C++ as well. And that's all right in here. So getting started, non-coder quick start. It says right here, you're going to copy and paste this setup prompt. Now, the key thing here is that you will see my computer is A, and it says insert what your operating system is. So you can use a variety of tools to make your edits themselves. And one of the first things that we recommend you install is Visual Studio, which is VS Code for short, which is right here. This is VS Code. It is completely free, it's completely open source, and it has just an absolute epic ton of extensions to help you out. Some of those extensions include AI assistance. So I would not honestly recommend Claude Code for VS, and I would not also recommend the Gemini the Gemini Code Assist. I would not recommend either of these. They are very, very laggy in VS Code, and honestly, it's just not the best place to use them. If you want to be using Gemini, really recommend that you use Anti-Gravity, whether it be their original IDE or their manager view, which is now basically the main Anti-Gravity. And if you want to use Claude Code, use Claude Desktop. And inside Claude Desktop, which I can open up now actually, inside Claude Desktop, there is Home. There used to be Cowork. Cowork has been wrapped into the main, and then there is a code area. Okay, so you want to be in the code area, and we'll go over that really quickly in a second. Similarly, you can use Codex. Let me actually pull that up too. This is Codex. And honestly, these all look very similar. This one's in dark mode. That's basically the main difference. You're going to have folders to the side. You're going to have your main chat interface, and they can work inside of a folder. So we're going to go over each of these so that you can get an understanding of what these tools are and which one you use. It doesn't really matter because essentially the interface is the same. So you have your 3 basic desktop apps. That would be Codex, Anti-Gravity, or Claude Code, or your Claude Desktop. If you wanted to use open source models with your open router key, Klein is a great one for that. So this is Klein right here. You can get Klein Pass, which is $10, which is half the cost of Codex or Anti-Gravity or Claude. You can do that. You only get access to open source models, but honestly, a lot of the open source models are getting incredibly good. Kimi 2, Xiaomi, I think is how that one said, and GLM. Some of these are absolutely fantastic. And if you're making really small changes, honestly, and you're like only making small changes on 1 or 2 different apps and they're really tiny, you really don't necessarily need a frontier model. You could probably get away with something. Either your open router, which if you go to Klein settings, you can see I have open router, but you can also go through Klein Pass. And with that, you get really very, generous uses for your open source models that way. So I did want to highlight you can do that directly in VS Code. I would also say that Codex works pretty decently in VS Code. And I'm used to this code view. So for me, I actually kind of prefer having a code view instead of just the typical desktop, which is this. But since you guys aren't coders, most of you, this is probably going to be your happy place instead. So let's jump right in. So I'm going to come back over here. So you will see right here, we say download VS Code. And this is really good in case you have to run a terminal code yourself. Every once in a while, these models have gotten a lot better, but every once in a while, you may find that maybe the building your installer didn't work the way you thought it should, and it's not actually telling you what the error is so that you can kind of spit it back to it. So sometimes you want to run those codes yourself or things like that, or just like see what they're talking about and open a file, what have you. VS Code is just a good thing to have in your back pocket so that you can do so. So then we get into operating system setup. So these are the Windows setups. This is Mac OS. This goes over Git and GitHub. So for Mac, Git is automatically installed for you, just like the C++ compiler. Those are automatically installed when you do the Xcode terminal right here. But other things, but Git for Windows, you have to download separately. Oh my God. Words. So everybody will have to create an account if you haven't created an account already, and then you have to log in on your PC via your terminal. Now, really quickly, for our Mac users, this is a terminal command, right? Using your terminal app. It's easy to find in your app folder or via your dock. But this is a terminal command that potentially, and this one too, this is a terminal command to make it so that you can click and execute the build app and the dev sh files. So you can have the AI actually do this for you. And similarly, if you feel comfortable, this is a comfort thing, you can actually have the AI help you log into your GitHub if you do not want to pop into terminal. I swear it's not as scary as it seems. I know for a lot of people, it's like, I don't want to open a terminal. So for instance, if you were going to do, let me actually pull it to that spot. So once you download your dependencies, your requirements, which is node.js basically for everybody, and then potentially C++ compiler if you're having issues with it doing a build, which we're going to go over, then you're going to run dependencies. So if you were doing this the old school way by yourself, then you would come to VS Code. So you can see this is the Electron app all unpackaged. And I'm going to come here, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say open an integrated terminal. This is going to open a terminal for that folder. And then I would type in npm install. And then I would hit enter, and it would install all of my dependencies. Now this one actually already has the dependencies installed, but it's not going to hurt anything. So I'm just going to hit enter so that you can see what it does. It's going to do a little spinny spin. It's going to go through, make sure that it has all the dependencies. And boom, it's done. Don't worry about these vulnerabilities. These are what would be called breaking changes. And considering that these are a desktop app, this is a desktop app that does not really do external web page opening. Those are not something you need to worry about. So that would be doing it the old-fashioned way. The great news is, however, that this can be done by the AI agent. So we're going to pounce back up here with this, because this will start everything that we need to do, including like even if we haven't installed node.js yet, right? It's going to tell us everything that we need. So I'm going to copy this, Control C, or you can do that little copy button if you're in Opera. Okay, and I'm going to bring in anti-gravity. So you'll see already this is in a project folder, but what if it wasn't? What if it wasn't? So we're going to come over here, say create new project. New project. We're going to add a folder, which comes right here, documents, and I'm going to do paging only. Great. Next. You're going to hit default because we're going to change this in a moment. Do not hit full machine or turbo. I think both of these are terrible ideas. It can give you access, the AI access to everything without letting you know that it's outside of its folder. I think that's a terrible idea. So next. Paging only, create, boom, now we're in paging only. Now we're gonna come over here to the, it's the folders. And I'm just gonna minimize a bunch of these because I have a whole bunch of projects. So I'm gonna come here and there's a little gear icon. I'm gonna click the gear and it says security preset default. So default is going to ping you every 2 seconds to do absolutely anything. Open a folder, view a file, make a change. It's going to ask you for everything, okay? But you will see, again, default, full machine, all terminal commands require review, but an agent can read or write to any file on the machine. Turbo mode disables all safety barriers for maximum iteration velocity. I would not recommend either of these. The terminal commands are probably like something that is going to be happening the most. So if it's still requiring a review for that, that's still going to be a pain in the butt. Turbo doesn't ask you anything at any time, and it's horrible. So I really want to recommend that. So we're going to hit custom. Outside of folders file access policy, always ask. I always ask on this. If you're really paranoid, you could also say deny, just to make sure that it can't get out of where you are. And then for terminal command auto execution, I always proceed because there is a filter, if you will, on anti-gravity that is going to basically say, is this terminal command safe or is it suspicious? If it's considered safe, it's going to just proceed. So that's what I'm going to do the change settings as. And then we could go ahead and start going. But I want to show you in Codex really quickly how to do that. So I'm just going to remove this because there's no chats anyway. And I'm going to remove this one. And that's how you do a remove. And here we're going to create project. We're going to do local and we're going to use an existing folder. If you don't do use existing folder, it will create a folder for you. I'm going to hit paging only. And bingo, bingo. Now we are in paging only. Here we have ask for approval, approve for me, only ask for actions detected as potentially unsafe or full access. Again, I would not recommend giving full access of anything to any AI. So approve for me would be an auto mode if you're familiar with Claude, which we're going to bring over Claude next. Okay, so little bit different with Claude. So this is a new session. And if you already had a folder open previously, it will be loaded. So whatever last folder you were working in is going to be here. So, and then you have, like, you can do projects. Well, they aren't projects. They're more like just like ordering, like filtering, really. So here we're going to have local. Here, this is add folder. If you add a folder, then it's going to be inside both of those folders. So that's something to be aware of. So instead here, this shows I have 4 different recent folders. So I can open one of those just by clicking, or I can hit open folder and that will give me this where I can go to documents and I can go paging only, trust workspace, and then I can start working. So I'm going to, and then the other thing that I did want to mention, which I just did, which is you can change model here. Haiku is perfect for the getting started prompt. If you're not actually making a feature change, Haiku is fine. And then right here, similarly, manual, which is going to ask everything except edits, where it can do an edit, but it cannot usually do any terminal, plan, bypass permissions, or auto. So evidently auto is not available for Haiku. They don't trust Haiku to do that, evidently. But I know Sonnet, Opus, or Fable, you can do auto. So accept edits would be kind of where you'd be at for doing this if you're using Haiku. But you could do Sonnet and do low. I would do low effort. And then you should be able to go, yeah, now you can do auto. So that would be what I would probably do for doing something like this. Okay, so that's how you add a folder and you can get started. So I'm going to go ahead and close Claude and Codex. And we're going to keep working in anti-gravity because I have usage available in anti-gravity right now. So we've already figured out how we can have it so it's not pinging us every 2 seconds for permission. And then right here, we have our models, so you can change the model here. Honestly, I use 3.5 Flash for pretty much everything. 3.1 Pro, low or high, will suck usage like nobody's business. I really wouldn't recommend it. And I haven't found it to be any better than Flash. In fact, I would probably say Flash has a little bit of an advantage in most cases from my personal experience. So that is just something to consider. Oh, actually, reopen Claude really quickly. Oh, I've never noticed that before. Evidently, if you just click from your tray, It will just pop up with a bar. I've never seen that. Okay. So if I come to one of my other projects that actually has some files, I'm just going to close this and close that. So if this is actually a working setup, and you can see I'm out of usage right now. If you go to these three dots, you can hit open in, and VS Code or Explorer is an option so that you can actually see the file. Just FYI, I just wanted to show you that really quickly. And here you can install IDE, and you can then open within the IDE for anti-gravity. Okay, so we're gonna now paste, we're gonna paste in our starting prompt. And right here, Windows 11 is one of the options, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this other part, is a Windows 11. Ta-da! Okay. And basically, you don't really need to look at this, but basically it's just saying, look at the getting started and help walk me through the entire process of installing the requirements and creating the installer for the program. My computer is this. If I forgot to specify my operating system, please ask me what OS I'm using. I am not a coder and need full handholding through this. Please let me know specifically what I need to do and what you can run and complete for me. Thank you. So right here, we can actually call this exact file. So we're going to hit @ just like email, and we're going to hit getting, and here you go, getting started, so that it can actually read that file and knows exactly where it is. If you don't do that, it will do a search, and that's fine. And I'm actually going to add, and well, it'll actually know about its, I was going to have it look at the skills folder, but it actually will naturally do that, so we don't really have to worry about that. And then you're going to hit go. So this is all you have to do to get started. It's going to analyze that file. It's going to look at the folder. It's going to look at some of our, see, it's going to look at the agents folder and the skills, right? Oh, interesting. So this is actually running the npm install for us. It said creating installer, so it immediately triggered the workflow to create your first installer. So that's what it's doing. I have started running npm install. I will monitor progress of this command and let you know as soon as it completes or if it needs any manual intervention. I'll stand by while this runs, and then this is going to run for a while. Now, I would recommend, just for streamlining this process, and then this is saying that there's a task running and it will let me know when it's done, which is very nice. So it'll let me know it's done. Now, again, what I started to say is once you have this, I would still personally recommend go here, download your VS Code, do the install normal for your system. I presume everybody has installed a program before. Okay, and then we're going to come down here, and I'm just going to say, so we're going to click node.js. Control click, by the way, opens in a new tab in pretty much all the new browsers. And this takes us to node, so get node. We're going to ignore this top part. We're going to come down here. It says pre-built node. So Windows, you're going to go Windows, and 64 if you have a specific, then you're going to get that. You're going to get Windows installer, MSI. You're going to click that. If you are Mac, you're going to click this, and you are going to, if you need to, change that, and you're going to hit Mac OS installer. Ta-da! And then you're going to install it like normal, right? And then if you are on Windows and you don't think you have build tools, then you can go ahead and control click that. Download build tools, it will download, and then that's an installer you will unpack and go ahead and do that install. So I will actually show you that. And if you look at the instructions, it will say for the C++ compiler, select desktop development with C++. And during the node.js, automatically install the necessary tools. Note that this will install chocolatey. You want that. This installs Python and compiling tools automatically. So that is crucial when you're going through the node.js. And then this is not causing any problems. So this is the build tools. It'll open the installer. Continue. It's going to download whatever it needs to download. And again, if you're on Mac, this actually happens with the Xcode command, which your AI guy can just run for you. So all you need to do is the node.js. And since we're doing this, why not go through the installer just so that you can see what you need to check in real time. Okay, so right here, copy workloads, components from previous installation. This is coming up because I already have this. So I'm going to hit compile manually because I already have this installed. So it knows that, basically. So right here, desktop development with C++. If we come back here, desktop development with C++. So that is the one you want to have checked. You don't need anything else checked here. Okay, you just need that guy. And I'm going to go and close out of this because I already have that installed. So that would be pointless. And then for Node, this should be pretty similar here for both of you, Mac or Windows. It's just making sure it has space and what's going on. Next, accept, next. That's fine. And then it should be, I would imagine, in here. So, add to path. Next. There we go. Automatically install all the necessary tools. So you're going to hit that, and then you're going to hit next and continue through the install. So those are the 2 check marks for our Windows people. And this one is the same for Mac. So this is, you also want the automatically install. And again, I'm going to cancel because I already have this installed. So that would be silly to do again. So once you install that, I would install that first and then go ahead and put this into your prompt. So here you can see, okay, I have started the build command and what was already set up. So in my case, Node.js and NPM are already installed. So we didn't need to install those requirements from scratch. What I did for you, I installed the dependencies, npm install, created the installer. I read the build command, and this compiled the application code and packaged it into a production-ready Windows installation file. The installer was generated successfully and located in your project's release folder, which I can show you as well. So in Electron app, so you're going to open release, and I would pin this personally. I would, if you're in Windows, you can pin folders. So I would, if you're making a lot of changes, you can pin that to start. And that way you know where your installers are. Okay. But it also, I believe, shows you the release folder. Yeah, it shows your release folder here. So what you need to do, simply open your file explorer, navigate to the release folder, and double click the install file. This will launch the standard setup wizard to install the application on your computer. So you're good to go. Now, what it also probably did, if not, this is another skill, is it can also verify environment installation. So there is a, if you come down here, automation, there is a run the dev server, there is push to GitHub, build app, and verify setup. So I actually might do, so right here, actually, I'm going to say run dev setup check. I'm going to add this actually to the starting prompt that we had, so that as part of that, that's going to be in the prompt that you get, is I'm going to just add that because I didn't think that through with adding the skill. Saying creating the installer automatically triggered it to build the app for you already. And so the dev setup check, just make sure that Node.js was properly installed and that it doesn't need anything else, basically. Once again, what we've done is we've taken this prompt and again, would recommend just install your Node.js and if need be, the C++ compiler. If you're on Mac, Node.js and the Xcode command line tools. Now, this part, if you were running on Mac, just install the Node.js and then have it look at the getting started and it will run this for you probably. And if not, just ask it to do that for you, basically. You can just ask it to install that for you on your computer and it will do that. If not, then you can follow these instructions, open the terminal app, and then you just press that and hit go. If there's an error, feed that error back to your AI manager. And if you do the install of Node.js and then, if need be, this, then do the prompt, then it should be good to go and you already have an installer for the latest version of paging, which none of you guys have because there were changes made right before the signing for the packages stopped working. So there are actually updates in the folder that you're getting. So I would recommend you run an installer pretty much right away. Just so that you have it. But if you want to make some changes first, that's totally fine. What you would do if you don't want it to create the installer is you just remove this line. Just remove and creating the installer for the program. That's all you would have to do. And if you are on Mac, just add to this prompt, please run, install the Xcode command line tools. That's all you have to do is you can just add that to here. And then you're pretty much good to go. So we will see you in the next video to go over how you can actually make changes, how you can find errors for your project, and then you should be pretty much good to go getting started with Paging Poly, making changes if and when you need to. And I will see you in the next one.